the president invoking the Civil War with this tweet quoting conservative pastor Robert Jeffress. Reading from it now, if the Democrats are successful in removing the president from office, which they will never be, it will cause a civil war-like fracture in this nation from which our country will never heal. Pastor Robert Jeffress at Fox News.
That guy's crazy. He's an extreme Christian conservative. And if you ever go to listen to what he says, you realize that he's not truly in touch with reality.
It's actually a slight misquote of what Jeffress actually tweeted out. Perspective now from retired Army Lieutenant Colonel Roth Peters, who's both a student of the Civil War and the author of a number of historical novels about it. Colonel Peters, when you see the president tweet about Civil War, retweeting somebody else, misquoting them even, I wonder what your reaction is.
One word: sedition. Trump is inciting violence against the legitimate government of the United States and the constitutional order. And Anderson, that is a grave crime. You can argue about the meaning of treason, what constitutes it, what doesn't. Sedition is very clear cut. And you can ask your lawyers, but to me this is as bald and plain as it could be. But also I have to say that there's not going to be a civil war. So everybody needs to knock that off. I've been hearing people on the extreme right say it for years.
Even if we're in a situation where the President of the United States is invoking the notion of a civil war if he is impeached, or if he is not reelected, or whatever the parameters he believes this might happen or this might break out. I mean, anybody who, even in, not even going back in U.S. history, modern times, has seen civil wars in countries around the world up close. There's no responsible leader who would ever kind of raise that, especially in a tweet. It is a horrific thing to witness. It is countrymen turning against countrymen.
The fact that Trump did retweet this, threatening that if there is a civil war, he didn't say it himself, but he's retweeting it from somebody who threatened a civil war if Trump was impeached. It means that he's wanting to convince his base that if he is removed from office, they should fight back, which is more of a move some kind of dictator would have done if he notices that the people around him don't want him in office anymore, or he's getting charged with something, to have a violent you wouldn't call it a revolt, because they're not revolting against anything. A violent, I guess just a civil war, so that he can keep his power. That is pretty tyrannical. And the fact that he thinks this is something that is appropriate to tweet, it's highly not. It's showing that he's willing to go to violence to keep his power. Though the fact that he's already going to be leaving in a year and a half during the next re-election, the fact that he's getting so unhinged over this impeachment is really crazy, and it shows his mental stability.
Well, indeed, and you have the irony of a draft dodger talking up war. But yes, there have been horrible civil wars. Some are ongoing right now around the world, and they are utterly horrible and very, very cruel. But Trump is very much in the situation of a developing world dictator, in that he's got to stay on the throne to stay out of prison, or in many cases worse. And
yep, that is one thing Trump knows, that he may go to jail over his crimes. The Ukraine, the most recent one, with Australia, trying to get Australia to do some kind of quid pro quo type thing. Russia, and all the other things that, in my opinion, were impeachable offenses. But, when it involves Biden and his son, Nancy Pelosi wants to get something done, but, putting kids into concentration camps is not impeachable, but, we'll let them do whatever they want. But anyways, Trump wants to keep power, so he's going to try to do whatever he can to keep the power, because he knows, as while he's president, he can't be charged with anything, which is another thing that should be changed. Sitting presidents should be able to be charged with any crime whatsoever. They shouldn't be immune to any crime. It's just that gives one person too much power.
Trump, he's afraid. He's a frightened man. Because if he loses the election, and it's not a foregone conclusion that he will, but if he does, he's going to face the rest of his life in courtrooms, not legal bills, perhaps in prison.
The last time that we spoke, you talked about how you feel the founding fathers could never have imagined someone like President Trump. Do you have faith in their institutions to mete out justice, whatever that may be, however that justice is defined?
No, they probably had some kind of idea of a person like Trump due to the fact of the type of people that had led their previous governments and the type of people that they were themselves. I think that's one of the reasons why they have the impeachment thing into the Constitution, to kind of prevent such things from happening. I mean, it doesn't always work. There's should have been a lot of presidents that should have been impeached, but never were. But that's a different thing.
I hope so. The Republican Party is a terrible disappointment to me. That was always the party of law and order, of the Constitution, of patriotism. And now, with rare exceptions, you see Republicans on Capitol Hill just cowering, afraid of Donald Trump, this bloated old charlatan who never served his country in any capacity. And all these Republican patriots are running to make excuses for him, cringing. And yeah, I know my views are strong on this, but Anderson, I love this country. I don't love it like Donald Trump, just for what I can get. I love this country. It's as good as life gets on this earth. And we are an ungrateful people. And Donald Trump is an embarrassment that cannot be measured.
With this president, I mean, it's often been said that everything is transactional with him. Relationships are transactional. Clearly, foreign policy is, and he seems to extend what he did in real estate into the Oval Office. Ukraine, it's not a country that is an ally to the United States battling an aggressor to the United States, Russia, and in need of aid. It's a young leader who may be able to bend to the will and come up with dirt on the Bidens or on Clinton or whoever.
Yeah, and you're certainly right. Trump is all about Trump. It's all about Trump. And I really feel sorry.
When has Trump never been all about himself? Basically, that's why he has his name plastered on everything that he can, because Trump has an ego that he needs to feed, which is why he loves people saying his name. Trump is an egomaniac.
For the people who voted for him, who convinced themselves that this man is a patriot. But I also have to say that in defense of Trump's supporters, they were abandoned by both political parties. As the Republican Party became a party of high finance, the Democrats became a party of high society. And where I come from, in the coal regions of Pennsylvania, people went ignored, utterly ignored. And Trump, I'm sure he's never read a page of Hegel, the German philosopher, but he instinctively gets the gist of Hegel and the idea of recognition. All human beings want recognition. And what Trump did was give recognition to the people, the electorate, that had been ignored by both parties. And I feel sorry for the people. And I know a lot of Trump folk.
He gave recognition. I mean, I guess maybe. But, I mean, if you're being ignored by both sides, why would you then eventually follow one of the sides that have ignored you just because they bring upon a guy that gives you some attention? Doesn't make any sense to me.
Who even now can't give up, they can't admit they were wrong because their pride's caught up in it. So we're in for an interesting election year.
Yeah, Colonel Ross Peters, appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.